Hello, everyone. Hello, welcome to the Mike Gilchrist Show. We're glad to be here and share our thoughts and ideals and relationships and whatever we could talk about with you all. We're glad to be here. I'm happy to be here. Uh, um, and I had a chaotic day, but I'm here. And even before I get started, I promised somebody a shout out, so I have to do that. I met the day before yesterday at Kava, and I jacked up their names on my previous show. So I got it right. So now I want to give a shout out to two young ladies I met at Kava, Brooke and Riley. So shout out to Brooke and Riley. Glad to meet your acquaintance. And so I didn't forget you all. All right. I got it now. All right. So appreciate you for that. But we're here today, my God, to share another concept of life. And the thing is, it's one that we can't really do without. We cannot move left. We cannot move right. We need this. We need relationship. We need relationship talk. And so we have a special guest, amen, young lady from, we both live in the state of Florida. So we're here with Miss Patricia Kennedy. And last name is Louke, Luke. I guess I'm saying that right. Okay, Luke, jack it up. But glad to meet the acquaintances and everyone that joined in with us, that we're able to, bring another perspective of life to you. And I think it's needed, it's much needed from every aspect. I set the tone. I have my little fuser going on, and I'm like, it gives a good aroma. I'm like, you know what? I want to set the tone. I'm even wearing a cap today because I want to feel in that mode of being young and youthful, or just understanding relationships. And so I'm cool, calm, collective, and the relationship is one thing I love, and I think I'd rather talk about that as one of my maybe top three subjects in this world: God, and then love, and then relationships. And then we could talk about money after that. But anyway, those kind of like my top three, and everyone may have top five. I'm sure I can get that. So my fifth one after money probably be travel. But relationships in my top five, and I'm always willing to talk about subject matters as relationships from any aspect, because I think if we all had it figured out, we wouldn't have divorce, or we wouldn't have bad relationships. But since we haven't figured it out, there's tools out there to help us to get there. And I'm glad I have a platform to make that happen. I mean, I have, the lovely Patricia with us, and she's going to share her thoughts. And you see, her book covers up front, and then you can see where you can get it. Get on Amazon right now, Kindle. And but it's ready to find your Mr. Perfect. For you, take the first steps today, and that's what it says. But the name of the book is 10 Steps to Finding Mr. Not So Perfect, and so I believe that's going to go into the mindset. What do you think about? What are you trying to do, and how to get there? And so we're going to hopefully answer those questions and some more today. So as we go forward, and so enjoy, sit back, relax, and get your cup of tea, cup of water, and let's dive into this and see where we can take it from here and go from there. All right. So with that being said, and Patricia, you may say hi and stuff to the audience before we get started, but I'm
Hi.
leaving your book cover up there for a little bit. She's ready to go forth, but I have a ton of questions to ask, and hopefully we could get to them all, and then the audience may have questions as well. And so we're, looking to say, okay, where do we go from here? Let's get there. Let's do it even now. All right. So we have a short time, but one of first questions, you're ready for this, right? And so one of my first questions is, I was, reading, parts of your book and stuff, and so uh, um, I have this thing that's blurring out to me because we look at life, and one thing I realize, you can't put a number to it, for number one. and we can't really put age to it, and and no matter how long you loved or been in love or dealt with relationships and so on, I don't think we have a time limit on who's right, who's wrong, or who could do it better, who not. But I'm saying you made a mention of 20 years of navigating the single worlds, and that probably covers a few billion people here in America. So you look at and say, for 20 years of navigating, understanding this and other, and I have my take and people have their take, but you wrote the book, and so what inspired you that your book was needed for such a time as this?
Well, thanks, Mike, for inviting me to your show today, and I am very happy to talk about my book. A little background, I guess, from where I'm coming from. Unfortunately, I found myself single at the age of 38 with two small children. And then there was not even online was not even popular. So I stumbled through the dating world, made a lot of mistakes, missed a lot of great opportunities, and didn't really know how to navigate it. Fortunately, at the age of 58, 20 years later, I met my perfectly imperfect person, and we will be celebrating our 5-year anniversary next month.
Wow, wow, congrats.
Thank you. I
Yes.
remarried at the age of 61. I mean, never did I ever think that was going to happen. So I think that for me, I was inspired to write the book, letting people know it's never too old. You're never too old to find love. It will find you if you are open to it. I also really feel like the world is a happier place when people connect. People
Right.
need people. And I wanted to share some of my life lessons, share some different facts that I researched, share some things that I learned so that the journey won't be so difficult for other people. And I think a lot of the feedback I get from my book is it opens up a lot of different formats on where to connect and how to connect.
All right, all right. That sounds good. Sounds real good. I'm glad I didn't know that at first, but I'm glad you wrote your book from a personal aspect because I think that's more fitting, to be able to see it up close and personal. I think that's very important. So I have another question, and did someone influence you? It's not repetitive to the first one, but sometimes we do things because we're influenced. I wrote my book because people kept telling me to write a book. Everything I've
Yes.
done, podcasts, people saying, you should do a podcast. I'm doing a book for women because people like, you should write this book for women. But did someone influence you or did something happen to
Yeah.
make you write this book?
Yes, yes. Some of my friends were always telling me that I needed to write a book. Patty, you need to write about all these things that you're going through and experiences that you've learned or stumbled. And I did not for a long time do that because there's plenty of books out there about the horrors of dating or, people aren't exactly what they are, what they seem. But I wanted to write a book from a more positive aspect.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of you hear a lot of just like anything, on the news. You hear the bad things, but you don't hear the good things.
Right.
So, with friends' encouragement, the book came together one day and it just started flowing. And again, there are warnings in this book also, particularly safety issues and different aspects of the dating, but a lot of positive too.
Right, right, right. Well, you mentioned earlier that your age. I'm so glad that some women like actually tell their age because it's like to me, I'm a guy, right? And women like I'm not telling you my age, but I think it's important to know, what you're dealing with, who you are, how confident you are. When women say their age, like my wife tell her age in a heartbeat, and I think that brings a confidence of who you are. 61, that's 61 years young, and so and
61 when I got remarried. That was
right,
5
right,
years
that's right,
ago.
exactly, yeah, exactly. But check this out, my wife's mom remarried at age 70. So
Mhm.
so so you're right in line, and she had a pep to her step, just by being married. So I'm like, and you're looking at your age. I think it's fantastic and I hope women hear me because it shows another confidence of yourself. It helps the relationship to say, I'm sure I know who I am. The guessing game, it goes on, I think, and this is my opinion, prior to the relationship. And so when you're first starting to get to know each other, first, getting to know, it's like, guess how old I am. That's fun then. Down the line, you want to know what you're dealing with because you could be 40 and act like you're 16. And I think that's important. So have another question. Does your book, you look at your book and then you look at all the resources out here, matchmaking, like one of the last things I ever want, and this me, and it's different for everyone. You can never set me up with anyone. And so you look at your book and you look at all the resources out there, right? And I'm kind of like archaic, if you will. I'm an old fashioned, and I know times has changed, this, that, and other, but you look at your book and other resources, right? Why we need your book, and what makes your book, and being that you're passionately involved, I'm sure you have a great answer. So I want to hear it.
Well, I think my book is a very practical book, and 10 steps is easy. There is a prologue and a conclusion, but it kind of narrows things down for someone, starting with communication, how to communicate, different ways to communicate, to locations and where you can meet people. And then there is online dating, but we also talk about how we can sabotage ourselves and how to be realistic and open. So my book is a practical guide starting from first step, bringing you all the way through to all the stages of a relationship and how to continue the love going. Some of the other books that I noticed were out there, I want to say are a little bit more gimmicky. For example, not that there's anything wrong with their books, but there was a book like How to Date Like a Man. Well, I don't want to date like a man. I'm not a man. I'm a woman and I want to date
Right,
like a woman.
right.
And then I also wanted to, like you said, incorporate all ages. This book is not directed at any one specific age. Someone from the age of 21 to 91 can follow this book and follow the resources that it also directs you to. So again, just practical guide that from I didn't think was out there.
Right, right, right. That's good. That's good. And you said something earlier on looking at your book and how it's applicable to everybody. Just a comment. That's a great concept to look at. Because I'm telling you, people I think are lost when trying to find, resources or how can I date? They follow people and it doesn't work out for them. I never take the advice of other people because you got to show me that something's working, and when it doesn't work, I don't look at them. And you name the 10 steps, and we don't want you to reveal the 10 steps. We want people to buy the book, and we don't want
Well,
any
there's a
of the
lot
stuff.
more to the
Yeah,
book. It's okay.
exactly. So, but I'm like, it's like, but 10 steps, if you have a guide and say it is working, it must work. I have to say this now versus wait till later because it worked for you. It happened for you. And so if you can construct a mindset to write a book and yet your life is conducive to that, I think that's awesome. Seriously, you could write it and actually live it, that's pretty awesome. I hope people, and I'm going to tell folks about your book as well, but I hope people gravitate to something because we need something different. Because they have dating shows, they're not real. They got this. We look at celebrities in a long time marriage, and then all of a sudden, I've been disappointed so many times. I was like, these guys got it. They got the money, they got the woman, they got this, they living the life, and they're still not happy. I know this because I deal with celebrities firsthand all the time. And I'm like, this is, pretty fantastic to be able to see this, and so we're missing that piece. And this, I love the title anyway. That's what caught my, when I met you at the book signing, Patricia and I were doing a different book signing. That's kind of like when we put things together, but your title stood out to me, and when people buy my book, my title stands out to them, but you need something captivating, but not only the title, but do you have the meat and potatoes inside to help bring that thought that's on the front to pass. And you're saying that, I have it. I got 10 steps. And I think that's fantastic. I'm like, this is amazing. Like if I was single, right, I would have your book as a tool, seriously, to go forward because I don't have all the answers. And then I want to see it from the opposite sex perspective. And so that's to give guys ideas. You're like, and I'm writing a book for women, but women want me to give that guy's perspective. But it's a spinoff on my first book, so we can't duplicate. I put the ideal out, but I'm like, nobody can do the spinoff from my current book. And so nobody but me. So I think that's amazing. And so in writing this book, and since we're talking about it, what was one of the hardest things that you put into this, that you sharing with the world, more or less, right? Even internationally. But what did you reveal in the book that was a hard thing for you?
I think the hardest thing for me to reveal was my mistakes that I made in this book and how I had to really look inside myself or take an introspective look to see why these dates weren't working for me. And it turned out that I was sabotaging myself at some point without even realizing it, without even doing it. So part of this is looking at yourself. If things aren't working for you, what are you contributing to the reason why they're not working? And in the book, I give personal examples of various steps and stages and little humorous stories because we all need our sense of humor. But a couple of the stories that I shared were personal and things that I just did absolutely wrong and didn't realize it till later.
Right,
So I think that was putting myself out there. And
right,
I hope that it helps other people.
right. Now you're piquing curiosity because people like, I want to know. That's why we do podcasts. That's why we do streaming because people like, I want to know what your secrets are or what you reveal because people want to know. And they used to have a show on TV. There's something, but the gist of it was the inquiring minds want to know. And I think you brought that forth and it's making me curious. And so that's amazing. Someone said online, they said, first of all, they said, and you can see it, I can show it. They said, congratulations, on your book. And
Thank you.
and then, but they also want to know, so it says, how do I put this out here? It says, what is the first step in your book? That's on you to reveal that. And so, they want
It's
to know,
okay.
you got 10. So that was, let me put that
The
away. So,
first step, actually, the first step in my book is a prologue. And in the prologue, it talks about communication and how to start conversations with people anywhere. And I challenge people to start conversations when you're just in the grocery store line, not necessarily with a man you have your eye on, just with a stranger
right,
because you want to develop good conversational skills so that when you meet that guy who you see across, a restaurant or something and you say, "Ooh, he's awful cute," you have some good tools and you're comfortable with with initiating a conversation. You'll know whether or not it goes anywhere.
right,
But I
right.
think that's in the prologue and then we go into the first step. My first actual step is called location, location, location.
All
And it
right,
breaks down to two different parts where you can meet people in the real world or face to face. And then we go into the virtual world or online dating.
right, right,
But there's lots of places, and I've had good feedback from people who say, well, I'm not looking for a man, but I will take your advice on how to even find girlfriends or
right, right,
open my networking.
right.
So
Okay,
that's a little
okay.
bit of
And,
prologue
and, and
and step one.
so I have another question, it's not listed, but should the man initiate the conversation? Should it be the woman? I mean, that's
These
when you
days,
said start the conversation.
yeah, no, if there's someone that you think is interesting, start a conversation. There is nothing wrong with starting a conversation. It's only a conversation.
Right, right, right,
You don't know where it would lead, and you're not starting a conversation saying, "Hi, I'd like to go out with you." You're saying you see that he's on his cell phone and it's an iPhone or whatever. "Oh, that's an iPhone? I have an Android, but I was thinking about switching. Do you like your iPhone?
That's creative. Yes, yes, yes. And it's natural, right? And
Yes, yes.
yeah. So
Or
that's
that's a nice briefcase. I need a present for my brother. Where did you get that?
right, right. Very good. And innocent too. So yeah, that's pretty amazing. Uh, um, Another question, since we previously talked about 10 steps, of the 10 steps that you have, right? Not without revealing them. And we just revealed number one. So you got number one, right? And so what should be gained? You look at these 10 steps and people are like, I'm following the 10 step. What should people be looking to gain? If they look at your model and say, oh my God, and we see it works. I mean, you're here live in person. And you're like, I did this. And I'm married today, and but what should be gained from these 10 steps?
I think the biggest thing that you should be gaining is that you need to have fun. If you're not having fun, then everybody's going to know it. If you think about the people that you're attracted to in life, you're attracted to positive people. You're attracted to people having a good time. You're not attracted to people that are, down in the dumps or whatever. So you have to have fun with dating. Um, this is one of my things. Enjoy the journey. Sometimes I think people are so focused on the destination or the goal that they forget to have a good time during in the journey. And your life's a journey. Dating's a journey,
Right,
just
right.
like any trip that you would take. So you're not looking for the end game. And whatever that end game is for you, it could be finding a new friend. It could be if you're an older person, you have no interest in getting married again, but you just want, a casual relationship, which is fine. Or it could be marriage, but don't focus so much on marriage. Like, I'm going out on my first date. Is this man marriage material? You don't
Yeah,
know him yet.
right, right,
So relax, have fun, enjoy
right.
the journey.
All right. Very good, very good. And I'll show you this next question. It says, thanks for sharing your first step. Now I need to read the other nine. That was good. All right. And so I have another one. Since dating is a serious business, right? And that's how we should go into it. Not to say, like you said earlier, to be married, this, that, and other. Like you said, have fun, but it's serious because you're giving time of your time to an individual and for the way ahead, however it turns out, right? Why should the humor and you said this be a part of the dating scene since it's written in your book, so why should humor?
Well, I think with anything in life, you have to have a sense of humor because you are going to go out on it unless you meet this person face to face and you already can see them and understand their personality. If you're doing virtual dating, they may not look exactly like they said their picture was.
Right, right.
Or they might have fibbed about their age, or whatnot. So you have to keep a sense of humor about yourself. And you have to go out with the date saying, this is only an hour of my time. And if this is not my Mr. Imperfectly Perfect, then maybe I'm going to learn something today from this individual. Or I went out on one date and the gentleman was a little bit older than he admitted. And I knew he wasn't for me, but immediately I thought of my girlfriend, who is a little bit older and the perfect age. And they became friends.
Right.
Again, networking. Keep your girlfriends on hand because if you need to discuss a particular situation or date, you want some girlfriends with you that you can talk to, vent with, and they can keep your encouragement up. But again, you may not need it. I know people that went out. I know one woman particularly, the very first date she went on, she married the man.
Oh,
She went
wow,
on
wow.
one she went met one person. Now, other people like me, we took a little longer.
Right,
But you have to, sometimes you kiss some frogs before you meet your prince. And
right,
remember,
right.
your prince is not always perfect. Prince Charming has some imperfections.
But you know what? You just gave me an idea because I'm writing my book, and you said something, and it's minuscule. It's really tiny. But the thing is, you said go on a date for an hour. That's just an hour of my time, and that's an aspect of relationship we don't look at. And I just got an idea for my book. I'm writing, right? You just gave it to me. But time is an aspect of relationship. We sometimes, because I'm a romantic because I believe in love at first sight, but that's me. That's not everyone's story. Like your friend went on a date one time, but time I think is a missed opportunity, and so I'm going to bring that out in my book because I you just gave it to me. Thank you for it. So it's just time.
Yeah.
It's the word time. It's time for
Yeah.
the
I
essence
mean,
of
the
it.
first, in my opinion, a first date should be an hour or two.
I
You
love it.
should
I love it.
just be, and nothing expensive, something, don't get involved in the money aspect. You're really just meeting each other to see if your personalities get along well.
Right.
And save
Yeah.
something for the second date. You don't
There
have
you
to
go.
reveal everything in the first date.
I love what you're saying because I'm like, I love that. I'm serious. For the book I'm writing, and I looked at my life for my first book. And the thing is, once I found out, and we're talking about you, but I'm saying we're talking about dating. When I was dating, when a woman likes you, right, or vice versa, whatever, you give them all the time in the world. And when you should actually be saving, like you said, perfect, saving some of that for the next time. And because I teach guys or I teach women, I said guys want what they can't have, and so I talk that at my book science and we give so much advice. It's crazy, and people say you should do a podcast. That's why I'm doing podcasts, because all the conversations I have and what's revealed to me at the podcast. I'm sure with your book you get a lot of stuff revealed to you. I think so, because people kind of like open up. As soon as you talk about relationship, they tell you everything. You can write 5 books from just being at book signings, right? Am I right? You get
It's
some of everything.
fun.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
funny.
So
Yeah.
that's pretty amazing. All right, so we covered that, and I was going to ask you about age, but you kind of covered that too because you said your book's good from doesn't matter how old you are, how young you are. So to move on, it says, why do you think people get insecure, or they're insecure when they're dating? Like, why do they put up roadblocks and walls of defense? And
Well, people, when people go out on dates, it's nerve-wracking whether it be the female or the male. I mean, everybody's nervous. Are they going to like me? Am I going to stumble? Are we going to have things to talk about? And, maybe somebody just had a bad work day. I mean, so there is another step in my book that says, don't judge somebody right away. Give them, I call it 3 strikes, kind of like baseball, 3 strikes, and then you're out.
right,
Some people are shy. They take a little time to warm up. They're not necessarily an extrovert. And then you are sharing little pieces of yourself. So you are putting yourself out there.
right.
So a lot of that makes insecurity. And how much should you share? So again, especially first dates, keep it light. Talk about TV shows, movies. You don't need to get into anything heavy. Just learn to relax with each other and then take things in baby steps.
You know what? I hate to put myself in this situation. Women had that mindset when I was out there. If you read my book, I don't know if you have. It's like if they had your mindset, I wouldn't have been the person I was at the time. And seriously, and I think that's true for a lot of people in bad relationships that didn't work out for them. That's fantastic. I mean, that's why I say time is important. And then what you're saying now, the insecurities and stuff like that, you're like, save something for later. And people could have had bad days. Because I'm like, one strike, you're out. And that's not true, based on what you're saying. So very good. And you may have just changed the mindset of everyone that looks this video. Everybody has a standard. Everybody's busy. They're working. They this, they that. Just a ton of things going on. And sometimes you got to give people a chance to strike out. And because one bad thing happened doesn't mean it corrupts the whole path going forward. And so, very good. I appreciate that myself. All right. And so with all, well, we just talk about insecurities. Now we look at failed relationships, and then you look at marriages, and you, like myself, we've been married before. And then you said someone got married on the first time, which I like
Well,
that
to
one.
the
I mean,
not to the first person they met as they re-entered the
not,
dating world,
okay,
not the
gotcha,
first
gotcha.
date.
Right. But the first time they met such a person. And so with all the failed relationships going forward, married or not, and do you think dating is a prerequisite.
I think that you need to date someone, you need to get to know them as a friend and as a person before you grow. Don't put the cart before the horse. I mean, you're not looking for a superficial relationship. Or if you are, then that is fine, but depends on what you're defining as a relationship. If you're looking for something to go for a very long period of time, you want to be friends first. And to be friends
Okay.
first, you have to date.
Right.
Learn a lot of religious sectors, they won't marry you until you know each other through 4 seasons
Okay.
or for one full year. And they do that on
Right.
purpose because each season brings different thoughts, different outfits, different,
Right.
different adventures. So date. That's how you learn each about each other. And then when you do go forward the second year around, you learn when a certain problem arises, how the other person will deal with it. And if what you did the first year worked, great, do it again. And if it didn't, adjust.
Right. Do you think if you're older that you kind of like want to omit the year time? Because I know of stories of people, the husband, the wife died, and the guy was married within 6 months. And so do you think do older people omit the year time of trying to get to know someone, and they
I
move
think
quicker,
age
something
does
like that?
play a part in it, depending on how old you are. Definitely, you don't have as much time as someone in their 20s or 30s. You're not going to keep a relationship going for 2 or 3 years if you're 70. Again, if after 6 months you feel like you're comfortable and you know this person and you're at that friend level and that works for you, I would never say no.
Okay.
For some people, it takes a little longer. There's other people I know that knew each other for a very short period of time and they're happily married. I don't think there is any one formula that works for everyone. We're all unique individuals. And it depends on where you're coming from, too. I was single for 20 years. So I think and my children were grown now, gone, adults living on their own. So I was
Right.
open to a relationship more than I was when I was having two teenage girls in my house. So
Right.
again, depends on where you are in life.
Okay. But someone have a question for you. Should you judge your date based on the first impression?
No, I don't think so. And again, I talk about this a lot in the book. Now, maybe I should correct that. I mean, if your first impression is he has prison tattoos, then maybe you should. Okay. So, yeah, then, trust your gut instinct. But if you are unsure, if you say, "Oh, he's a nice guy, but, I didn't hear any bells and whistles going off." Well, the bells and whistles can come later.
Right.
So again, be a little lenient. Now, like I said, if he shows up and he has prison tattoos all over him, I would say thank you, but no thank you and move on quickly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Definitely, definitely. Then you have another question here. Is it best to date someone after you talk to them on the phone for 40 hours? I've never heard that one. So you can have that
Okay.
one.
You, again, and I talk about this in my book too, and these are all personal situations. When I was online, I did not give out my phone number because I just didn't give out any personal information. I went through the online app of talking to someone and then I wanted to meet them in person because I didn't want to waste my time texting back and forth. And I was a little hesitant about giving out my personal telephone number. Now, of course, cell phones are harder to trace or whatnot. But if they don't want to meet you in person after talking to them for 40 hours on the telephone or after texting them for several weeks, chances are they're hiding and they're not really who you might think they are. They might be married. They might be just testing the waters. I mean, your goal is not to have a pen pal or a telephone buddy. Your goal is to meet somebody live. in person.
Right. Yeah.
So I
Now,
hope that
now,
answers
since
your
we're here,
question.
yeah, I hope so too. I haven't seen nothing else here, but since you're here, this is perfect for the next question. Since what are some red flags? And you mentioned the tattoos. You know, when you're dating, what are some
Well,
other red flags? And so, and I know you have some in your book as well.
yeah, I think we're all aware of people posting photo. If you're doing the online thing, we're talking not necessarily meeting someone face to face. When you meet someone face to face, you see what they look like. You can tell by the inflections of their voice whether or not, their personality and stuff. Online dating gets a little backwards because you don't hear a voice, you don't see this person. So if someone has just one picture online and they look like a model, chances are it's not really them.
They're hiding something.
Okay. Chances are. We all know, don't ever give anyone money. Don't send anyone money. We have, there's stories about catfishing and people are just looking to try and get your personal information. So that is the number one crime online, is trying to get your personal information or trying to get money from a female. And it is amazing how good these people can be. So just beware of those kind of red flags. And again, if you are trying to meet somebody and they keep saying, "Oh, well, I can't meet you at this day," and we're saying for coffee or just something simple, meet me in the park. And they keep putting it off, and you've been chatting with this person for a month, it's kind of a sign that they're not who they say they are.
So I have two questions for you. Is this is the first one? Let's put it out there. Should someone who has a great personality, this is a good question, I think. You have a lot in common, but you're not attracted to him. And so,
3 date rule, 3 strikes before he's out. So if he has a great personality and you have a lot of common interests, I would give him a chance because you may learn to love certain things about him and you may fall in love with him. You are, if you, the handsome man or my book cover has a question mark for a head
yeah,
because it's not going to be the person in your mind that you think he looks like. And he's not perfect, but the things that are more important for a sustaining relationship are common interests. And someone who can make me laugh, that does it for me. I mean, because life can be hard, but if you have a sense of humor and a good personality and you can make me laugh, I'm in.
right. I decided to put it up there so they can see the question mark.
Ah,
Uh,
thank you. Yeah, and the title, not so perfect, because I just want everybody to remember there is no Mr. Perfect. Mr. Perfect is a novelty doll that you found like in Spencer's novelty store, if you remember Spencer's, and it's this little doll that you used to put in water and it used to puff up. So Prince Charming has flaws. I mean, now, if you go out with this gentleman and after the third time you say, I can't see myself with him, then you're at the friend level. You've put him in the friend zone and he'll always be a good friend.
yeah, yeah.
But if you
Okay,
don't
friend.
want to put a bag over his head and go running from him, give him a chance.
Yeah. All right. Then there's another question to that. It's and I think they want your advice on this. How long should you talk to someone on the phone before you actually go out with them? So
Again, it varies to your comfort level, but I say after you're communicating either by email or by phone for 2 weeks, it's time to meet.
yeah. That happened to me. That's in my book on how I met my wife. I waited months for her to call me. I used to run and wait for her to phone. Yes, yes. But anyway, yeah, yeah. 2 weeks is good enough time. I got to talk to my wife about that. So I
I
hope
mean,
that
now
answers. And
unless
then
there's
someone
some
else,
certain, unless you're traveling for business and you have to get back, you know what I mean? But I would say two
yeah,
weeks you should start to be looking to meet each other.
right. That makes sense. Somebody agrees to the yes, three strikes before you're out. So you gotta, and I can show you. Uh, so that's a good thing. All right. Do you think? Well, you kind of answered that, the clothing. So let me what should be your ultimate game from dating?
But happiness. I mean, we all want to be happy. And I think when you connect with other people, you're happier. I don't think anybody really wants to be alone. And again, I'm not saying what type of relationship. It could be whatever it is that you're looking for, but people just need to be with other people. I think it makes the world a much better place.
I agree with that. I have to be in loneliness time for myself, but I like sharing my life as well. So, yeah, and so we go from there. All right, all right, all right. And top three things that you can people can gain or have gained from your book.
I think number one are different options of how to meet someone and where to meet someone. I've gotten a lot of positive feedback from that. Reevaluating what's important to you. And I think we touched on that with the previous question. What are you looking for? And I don't mean he has to be 6'2" and, have dark hair and blue eyes or what have you. What are important traits that you are looking for in a person.
Right.
And then the third one I think is you have to be open and expand your horizon. I know that for myself, I went outside 5 different steps in my book. I expanded myself 5 different ways in my book, and that's how I ended up meeting who I'm married to now. If I didn't do that, I would still be dating.
Right.
So you have to be open and expand your horizons.
That's good. So I have another question. Sometimes in the dating scene, this is me, this is not online, and I talk to a lot of people, guys, girls, whatever, and I look at a ton of different scenarios going forth, and you outlay the 10 steps. I love your perception of what you bring, but I deal with people on a total different path, and 90% of this, I do a lot of book signings, so I meet a lot of people. I meet judges, lawyers, doctors, and half time I talk and people don't leave the table. But sex, plays a major role in dating, and it can make you or break you. They have these TV shows, Love at First Sight, and this and another, and Temptation Island, and so we're like, there's a norm or should be to dating, but yet you have all these obstacles or outside influences. So and I'm sure you've gotten this. Should I have sex with him? Should I not? Whatever. So, and I know it's probably hard to do this on one show because you could talk about sex forever. There's so many scenarios. How should a woman, because she's the gatekeeper, if you will.
She is.
So, and I'm kind of like bringing that out, with the stuff I'm doing. Stop that, whatever. From a guy's perspective, especially if he's not going to be involved into a relationship, he only want one thing, period. And so, how do you tell people, to
The
keep
thing that
themselves?
the part that I mentioned about sex in my book, and this is just the way it is. I have, a medical background. So once you enter sex into the relationship, do know then that the relationship's main focus becomes sex. We actually release endorphins and a cytokine when you have sex. It's a feel good. I
Right.
mean, that is part of a sexual relationship. And it becomes a craving, if you wish. It's a physiological craving, and it is there for women and men. So my best advice that I can give is, again, you want to be friends first. If you're friends first, your sex will be even better because you'll be caring more for each other. If you lead with sex, then your relationship becomes about sex. And a lot of times you will forget to learn about each other as people. Does that make any sense?
Yeah, that sounds like a big disappointment. That was good. I have another question, but you know what? I think
Was
there's
it a disappointment? It wasn't the answer you wanted to hear?
no, not for me. For me, if you read my book, you'd be like, wow. But I'm not going to share my book. But I'm like, I'm going to, couple with yours. But I'm like, me, it was never a problem. Women made it so easy for me, and that's a good
Because they were
it was a
leading
part
with
of why I wrote my
sex?
book. It was because of who I was. I mean, I was a nice looking guy. My wife still tell me I'm handsome, but back then I called myself Don Juan for real, and But that's how easy it was for me. I mean, I didn't have to do anything. I mean, and so that was just my story. But we're not, we open up another door. I get all these questions. So
I just say don't lead with sex.
yeah.
Hold out
You
as long
shouldn't.
as you can.
You shouldn't. So I have not that I'm back out because I have a lot to say. Someone's asked a question. I guess it's a two-part. It says why is it so hard for men to, and I guess, find good partners. And so why do you think it's so hard? Because we're talking about all these things, the red flags, the this, that. I mean, we're getting into the meat of the show, and we're almost done, But
I think it's hard because the internet online has become very popular, and like with anything that has become very popular, you have your people that are sincere and then you have your people that are not, and you have to weed through it more because there's a lot more people on it now than used to be. Again, if you get my book and read it, you'll see that I think you should try online, but I also don't think you should give up on real life interactions and networking and try to get rid of some of these preconceived ideas that you have in your head. I think that's also the other part. I think people go out these days with a laundry list. And if they sit down and they look across from this person and you don't match my laundry list, you dismiss them right away. Or they to you. I mean, that's why you have to keep your sense of humor too.
right,
And I think that you need to get rid of all these preconceived notions. And again, like I said, be a little bit open and expand your mind.
right.
And then maybe the good guy will come through.
Yes. And then this will be the last question. It says, it's not a question, but it's just a comment. It says, love will always outlast lust. I think that's a
Absolutely.
true statement there. Oh, um, yeah, but I've got a ton of stuff. Like I'm just reading. It says, no sex before marriage. Do you think men respect you more when they don't open, try to get close to you? I said it like that. They did, they didn't say it like that. But no, when I guess no sex before marriage. Do men respect you more if they don't get next to you? The sex first. And so I you could answer it, I can answer it, but do you think
I think
men
it
respect you
depends on
more?
the relationship.
Yeah,
I
so it
just think it
depends.
depends on the
Yeah.
relationship.
I think it's like rolling dice. So that's the best way I could put it, and go from there. So yeah, that's pretty fascinating. I mean, I'm gonna post up where we at. Yeah, I'm gonna post up Patricia's book again because I want you to get it before we close out the show. Please, we covered a lot of topics that really, I think, answers the question because the questions, I mean, we got to a certain part, the questions just start flowing in. I can't answer all these questions. And I'm like, and this is a very interesting topic and it's amazing. I mean, we might have to get her back on here to answer more questions. And so, and go from there. But yeah, bring the questions. That's the thing. And then we can, lead off that way as well. And but the book is pretty dynamic, and I think you could just pick up a copy and see what we didn't cover, and what we was not going to cover because you should read the book and make it applicable. I think it works because the person that wrote the book, it actually was applicable to her life, and that's the author, Patricia. So we look at all the stuff she made. I thought you did a fantastic job of bringing out the points and you kept it within the perimeters of where we are, and where you were at and what you're trying to bring forth. I think you represent your book really well.
Thank you.
Pretty dynamic, and so you see it up there. I mean, take a picture of it while it's on your screen, what have you, and go get this book, because especially if you're in the dating world, based on the questions that people either in it or they know someone that needs this book, this type of material. And this is different. This is not your common type book, and so you take that and roll from there. So I think that's pretty neat. And so and like you said, it's no Mr. Perfect. It's you have to make relationship work and give it a chance at the same time. I think you covered everything really well. I mean, I'm glad to have you had you on the show. And I think that thank you for the aspects that you brought out. and how, we should go from here moving forward. Pretty dynamic. I'm glad we made acquaintance and able
Thank
to,
you.
bring this thing together because your book's going to do well. I'm going to push it out as well as even one of my resources because I talk to a lot of people and the people dating. And I talk to a lot of single people, single women, different ages. I had a lady call me 50 something years old, and she was trying to get advice from me on how should I date. And I try to give them pointers and so forth, so on. And I wish I knew of your book then. So as I get these calls, I get able to push it out as well to help me because I don't have all the answers. I mean, I have some, and then I have my own life answers, but it's nice to have good resources, and then to say I met the author, I had this author on my show, whatever, so forth, so on, and but great job on how you carry forth, and so I know the audience is enjoyed you, and it's going to go out to different folks. So we gonna make it happen. Hopefully, we could change the dynamics of what relationship looks like and what it should look like. But thank you for your success story, and hopefully,
Thank
like I
you.
said, we can talk again and go from there. And so, with all that being said, as we move forward with the show, so thank everyone for joining us, and we're about to start winding down. And what I do is generally before closing out is share my story. I always look to find that, and this time we're doing something a little different. So as we get ready to close, I want everyone, all of our listeners, if you want to be a guest on the show, please contact me. Amen. I'm easy to contact. You go through my manager as MD at BM Gilchrist, MG at BM Gilchrist, MG at BMGILCREAST.com. And we're going to get some with QR code and stuff. I'll put it up later on. I don't have it down, but if you want to be a guest on the show, please contact us. I'm easy to find. Send me a comment, even on social media. I'm on all social media at BM Gilchrist, and you can find me. But let me know, you want to be a part of this, and you see how we do it. We do it well, fun, relaxing, and it's no right or wrong. It's giving your opinion and going from there, and make a conscious effort and go forward and pick up this book along the way. So as we close, I always say faith connected to the power words bring forth the reality of God. So